The NSCAA TV's 20-game Division I package rolls on from Fairfax, Virginia tonight as the perennial power and number 14th ranked Virginia Cavaliers visit the always formidable George Mason Patriots. We bring you men's college soccer next. And we welcome you to Fairfax, Virginia for yet another in-state matchup as it's the Atlantic 10's George Mason Patriots hosting the ACC's number 14 Virginia Cavaliers right here at George Mason Stadium and right here on NSCAA TV. Hello, everybody. I'm Dean Linke. Delighted to be with former Georgetown coach Keith Tabatsik. And Keith, you live right here, so you know what it means for George Mason to face a power like Virginia.
Well, it's one of the best rivalries there's been in the state of Virginia, and it's only 90 minutes down the road. And, of course, George Mason with a fantastic history of men's soccer here and women's soccer. UVA, what can you say, 6 national championships. And they're trying to get back on the road to get another one this year. By the way, they're hot right now, and I think they got a lot of pieces together to challenge George Mason, coming off their first loss of the season.
George Mason, led by Greg Andrulis. They lost a ton of seniors, but they're looking up top to Timmy Mulgrew.
Yeah, Timmy Mulgrew, he's got a lot of everything for them. He's the leader of the team right now. He can score in a lot of different ways. Plays underneath, plays up top, plays out wide. 8 goals, 2 assists on the season. They're going to need him to have a big game tonight to beat UVA.
All right, Keith, Virginia also goes with the 3-5-2. We've seen a lot of that. To make it go, Eric Bird in the middle.
Yeah, well, Eric Bird does everything well, all right? There's not a thing on the field that he doesn't do well. He is the heart and soul of this team. You can know that by the fact that he's a 2-year captain, all right? I love this kid all over the place, and he just makes everyone else on that team look better. And when you make those type of players look better, that's a good formula.
Greg Andrulis, George Gelnovich, 2 great coaches. Talked to them moments ago.
We obviously have to play very well at home tonight in front of a great crowd. Virginia is a quality team with a lot of quality players. Got to keep it tight in the back, look for our opportunities on the break, and hopefully get something in our advantage early in the game, carry a little momentum as we go.
Well, first off, we got to deal with playing here. This is a TV game. They're going to be very excited. It's an in-state rivalry. I think the first half, we just got to make sure we don't concede goals. We got to match the intensity. We run into this when we play in-state schools like this. So we just got to make sure we're real smart to start with. As the game settles down and the soccer part takes over, I think that's when we'll thrive a little bit.
And, of course, tonight's game on NSCAA TV is brought to you by Continental Tire. Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Learn more at continentaltire.com. We're here at George Mason Stadium getting set for George Mason and Virginia. Dean Linke along with Keith Tabatsik. And Keith, as we take a look at the George Mason starting lineup, make no mistake, in goal, the sophomore Stephen Kraus is legit.
Well, he's legit, and Greg Andrulis loves this guy, and he's going to need to be legit tonight. It's been raining a little bit too, so a little slick. He's got to have sure hands. But the other people on here, Timmy Mulgrew up top and Hurstek right behind him, they need to be able to penetrate behind a very good UVA defense, and that's going to be the big challenge for George Mason tonight, getting behind that defense.
That's the starting lineup for George Mason. And then George Gelnovich from the ACC. They went to the College Cup a year ago. They've been bothered by injuries, but they go with a 3-5-2, and we're seeing a lot of that since the World Cup.
Well, we're seeing it's coming back into style, just like the clothes in my closet there, Dean.
I don't know about that.
But you look at this, they got a lot more quality than what's in my closet there, And up top, Madison and Corbeau. Those 2 guys, Madison, real athletic guy, can get by you. Corbeau, a ton of skill. Eric Bird in the middle holds them all together. And, they're solid all around, Dean.
It's a big night here. A little bit rainy, as you said, Keith Tabatsik, but that is not slowing down the crowd here. It's going to be a real nice crowd as George Mason and Virginia get set. Take a look here now at the keys to the game here in this one, Keith.
Well, I think if you look at it, George just said this a little bit coming in here. First of all, they got to treat Mason like it's an ACC opponent. Translation, it's a big game. You can't take it as just a midweek game, non-conference. Handle the crowd and energy. It's kind of what he said. He hopes that they can do that, let the soccer take over. George Mason, well, it's creating chances. They've scored a lot of goals this year. This will be probably the best defense they go against, and the mistake-free defending, because there's quality players on UVA that will punish you if you make those mistakes.
Pretty nice conditions, short of the rain right here. The field looks amazing. It's a Patriot Bermuda, whatever that is, but it looks good. And it's cloudy.
George Mason. It's a George Mason Bermuda.
67 degrees, of course. The George Mason Patriots, well said, Keith the Batsick. I'm still a little shook up by the clothes in your closet, I'm not going to lie. Good crowd here, though, for the Patriots.
Yeah, I tell you what, they've been looking forward to this, all week for this game, and it's always going to draw it. And both teams doing really well. And George Mason just had their first loss of the year, and got Andrew Chapin in the middle. Very veteran referee to handle this. It'll be. He handled. Saw him a couple times this year. Quality referee.
Virginia comes in 6-3-1 overall, 2-1-1 in the ACC. George Mason comes in at 7-1-2. 0-1-0 in the A-10 after losing to VCU by a score of 3-0. That pushed them out of the NSCAA top 25 because I was pretty certain they were going to be there. They are receiving votes, and for sure, if they can knock off Virginia some way, somehow. Won't be easy, though, Keith. Virginia 17-8-3 all-time against George Mason, and they own 4 straight wins against the Patriots, including a year ago. Greg Andrulis, very forthcoming, and I love that guy, by the way. He's like, hey, we're undefeated. We rolled down to Charlottesville, and they absolutely pasted him. Virginia came out big.
No, they did. As a matter of fact, George Mason is undefeated going into that, and it wasn't a fluke or anything. I mean, Greg Andrulis said, look, they just beat us in every single way, and they're hoping. And we look at that. There's the 29th meeting here, as you said. UVA 17 wins, 8 losses, just 3 draws. But there's a lot on it right now. Why did George Mason drop out of the top 21 loss? Because of the strength of schedule. And, this is the top team they've got right now. Any result here is going to get them back in.
Well, certainly, the Cavaliers will face a strong schedule. They always do, and you see the Wahoo fans are in tow here tonight. UVA boasts the nation's 4th toughest schedule this season as their opponents own a combined 59-33-15 record. 9 of the 11 UVA foes currently have records at or above 500. Of course, great work by Andy Fletterjohn, the fine SID of Virginia as well.
Absolutely. Just feed us that information. Make it easy for us, Andy. And hopefully these two teams will make it easy for us for a good night of college soccer. And I like the fact that it rained a little. It's not raining right now, but it got that field wet. The field will play nice and fast, and the skill will hopefully take over after the energy.
Keith, we talk about goalkeeper Stephen Kraus, 3rd-team All-American last year for the NSCAA as a freshman, so he's legit. Meanwhile, Virginia, an interesting tale as you look at Callie Brown as in goal. Here's a guy who actually was on the team, quit the team, joined a fraternity, came back, and got his chance last year and is sitting in front of the very talented Jeff Caldwell, who's from Todd, North Carolina. He's the U17, U18, and U20 pool player in the U.S. pool.
It's actually quite a story because it took over 8 games left in the season last year and hasn't given it back yet. 2 of the best keepers around.
Virginia in blue, the home team. George Mason in white as they play it up top. Part of the story for George Gelnovich is also sort of piecing this team together as their starting forwards, Darius Madison and Nico Korovu, were out to start the season. Madison finally back from a high ankle sprain. All he's done is score 3 goals in his last 2 games.
Yeah, they miss both of those guys, and they're a great partnership because they both bring different things to the field. And Darius Madison, just a athletic guy with skill, can get by. He's not tall, but he plays real big. But Nico Korovu, he just has absolute pure skill and can pull something out of the hat. I love watching that guy play.
3 in the back as they try to drop it up to the speedy Madison. Delighted to be with you here on NSCAA TV and around the Hampton Roads area on the Hampton Roads Sports Network, in Norfolk on Cox 11, in Roanoke on Cox 77, on Cox Nova Channel 74 right here in Fairfax County, Virginia. We thank you for being with us as NSCAA TV, along with George and Brian Krieger, expanding the reach here. Delighted to have this one right here, Keith.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And by the way, there's Andy Chapin talking to Janik Eckenrode with what he thought was a bit hard of a tackle going in. They were just talking to him, trying to key. He knows there's going to be a lot of emotion in this game, and trying to get a hold of it early. And another foul by George Mason.
Leading George Mason, Greg Andrulis, the head coach, former MLS Coach of the Year with the Columbus Crew. That'll be played back. Henning Dirks has 4 goals and 1 assist. How about, though, Timmy Mulgrew, the player that we highlighted, 8 goals and 2 assists on the season. Phenomenal start for Timmy Mulgrew.
Yeah, what I like about Timmy is that he's also real versatile. I actually think his best position, if he moves on past college, might be on the left side, the left wing, but he's played underneath that forward as well, and tonight getting right at the point.
George Mason. Of course, Greg Andrulis replacing Gordon Bradley. Here's a shot from distance and handled by Callie Brown, the redshirt senior from Leesburg, Virginia. Actually had 9 saves earlier this year against Tulsa, the most saves by a UVA goalkeeper since Mike Forensic had 10 at VCU in 1998, so a solid performance.
Good performance. I mean, that's the thing about UVA, that they traditionally keep the ball so much that teams don't get many chances. And Janik Eckenrode with that shot, sealing that ball in, and not a bad shot, by the midfielder from Virginia.
Played all the way back. And Kraus has it. Greg Andrulis telling us that he's played 31 games and felt like he's only really made a mistake in 1, the game recently against Navy.
Yeah, and he just hopes that that's not going to keep going. You can't make, we said this in the keys, you certainly can't make mistakes against teams like UVA that will punish you. And the stakes get higher, you get punished for those mistakes.
All right, it's Kyler and Sheldon Sullivan on the wings along with Wesley Suggs. You mentioned the athleticism of that man, Madison, but the 3 in the back, supreme athletes for George Galnavach.
Well, they aren't. In fact, in many ways, all 3 of them could be center backs. They're that type of center back you like that hold things in.
Rosansky plays it far wide. Dropping to Thompson. Thompson back across. Is it deflected? It is. It'll be a corner kick for the Virginia Cavaliers. They come in ranked number 14 in the NSCA Continental Tire Top 25.
Virginia corner will be taken by number 7, Todd Wharton.
Todd Wharton, the holding midfielder from Glen Allen, Virginia, 3-year starter at midfield. Steady presence for George Galnavach's team. He'll take the corner kicks. With his right foot, far side, looping ball, back across, well hit, right in front of the goal, back across, pinged off. It looked like it went off. Nope, they'll say off Virginia, and it'll be a goal kick for the Patriots.
Yeah, and that was, as you see this corner kick coming in, this is Eric Bird getting over top, already on the back post, knocking it down, and the shot there just going wide for UVA, and it looked like it might have been Kyler Sullivan putting that wide.
This George Mason men's soccer program has been one of the original programs as far as on the athletic side for George Mason, and they've had some success. Richard Broad had a winning record before he left. Gordon Bradley had a fantastic record as well, and now Greg Andrulis getting it done, making it to the NCAA tournament again last year.
Yeah, he's made it a few times since he took over, and of course now the switching into the A10 as well, and certainly I think that they're one of those teams in the A10 that every year is going to be challenging for that title and the automatic bid as well.
Of course, they also beat William and Mary, a team we've seen this year on NSCA TV in the first round last year. It'll be sent out of bounds. Throw in far side. Sheldon Sullivan is your left back. Your right back is Kyler Sullivan, as the 2 brothers flip-flop 31 and 13. I like it.
There we go. Both good players. Watch them grow up as youth players in the Olympic Development Program, and they're great to see them playing and starting together at UVA.
Little bump. That'll go out of bounds. Goal kick. We are in Keith Tabatzik's neck of the woods, Georgetown. A big weekend for Keith Tabatzik. So proud of you, Coach. 22 years, an endowment now for the coaching position at Georgetown, and a big celebration of your 94 Big East title this weekend. And we're just glad you're here in one piece, Keith.
It was a challenge team getting here, but I appreciate it. Thank you. A real special weekend for the Georgetown Hoyas and the programs past and obviously the current program doing outstanding, being 5th in the country right now.
It certainly is awesome that they were able to recognize the great work you did there, and I know Seen the video online as well. If you haven't checked it out, go to Georgetown Men's Soccer and you'll know what I'm talking about. Great area for soccer around here, as Keith knows probably better than anybody. Here comes George Mason. Nifty little move. Coming back in support there was Ryan Zinkin, and that's what you got to do in this 3-5-2. Your outside mids have to come back and support.
You're absolutely right, and that's something that Ryan Zinkin does all game long, though. I mean, his quality, one of his qualities is athleticism and his speed, but he will outwork you over 90 minutes. In the last 90, he's going to be the same as he is in the beginning.
Here's Zinkin again. Zinkin. What a diagonal ball. How did he do that? Rosansky now on it. He'll drop it over, and this will find Madison. Mason, they have some speed on the wings. George Mason, as we're here in Fairfax, Virginia, on the campus of GMU for the Patriots and the Cavaliers.
I think it's so important, Dean, that when George Mason gets this ball back, that they connect a few passes. I know they want to try to get a goal early. Obviously, any team does, and they want to try to take advantage of being at home. But you can't always be so direct. And I think one of the things that happens when you're playing against a 3-5-2, just psychologically, you think there's all that space to play balls to, and you sometimes go more direct than you really want to be doing.
Of that ball a moment ago from Eric Bird, and Eric Bird's calling for it again. Here come the Patriots on the wing. Played to Daniel Huffman. Huffman, little fluke back and forth and knocked out of bounds.
I think he did too much there. He had him beat, and he cut back in front of him, did the defender a favor. But Daniel Huffman, we have a look at this again. This is a sophomore from Germany. He's got a lot of flair there, but look at him. He does the job. And he's going right at Sullivan, at Kyler Sullivan. Beats him there. Really should have just gone because he's in the 18 as well, and Sullivan's got to be a much smarter defender once you get in there also.
Kyler Sullivan is the senior. His brother Sheldon Sullivan is a redshirt freshman, both of them from Stafford, Virginia, obviously. They went to North Stafford High School. It'll be a corner kick now, though, for George Mason. On the corner is Zach Hurstek, the sophomore. Went to Trinity High School in Pennsylvania. Hurstek with that right foot, driven low. No problem for Virginia to clear it out. George Mason. Dare I say a bit humbled. The flag is up. A bit humbled from that 3-0 pasting a year ago as they came in undefeated. I got to give Greg Andrulis credit, though. They bounced back from that to remain undefeated at 5-0-3 in league play, which Greg Andrulis, without question, called his greatest memory here so far.
Yeah, well, it really is. Every time you talk to him about that game, and he said they just beat us in every single way. There wasn't any excuses, nothing. And it's not like, they just lost to VCU. He actually felt that they actually played fairly well, and there was a couple unfortunate things in that game. But, they do need to bounce back, and quite a challenge here to bounce back against UVA right away.
There's a track surrounding the field here at George Mason Stadium, and both teams are on the far side, so we'll try to keep you up to speed on the substitutions. It's a long ways away. And the bleachers here on this near side are filling up. Fans also hanging out over near the hamburger joint on the right side. Right now, the Cavaliers have all 10 players, just about all 10 players past midfield.
And of course the reverse of that is forcing all of the George Mason players behind it. And one thing Mason does need to do is be able to stretch them out once they get the ball right now.
Hurstek. Great diagonal ball. Played over to Mulgrew. He'll drop it back, and as you see, coming out of there was Brown, so Sullivan was forced to knock it out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick. And that all started with the counter led by Hurstek.
No, exactly. And Hurstek, who's the right midfielder, you're going to see him inside all the time. A quick corner by Mason.
Hurstek had it for a moment. He'll lose it. Quick corner coming from Daniel Huffman. Huffman from Germany. Kraus also from Germany. Is English still coming together as well? Talking to John O'Hara, who was just recently named to the George Mason University Hall of Fame. The guy was fantastic here at George Mason, one of the best goalkeepers ever.
Outstanding keeper.
Long throw in. Snapped across. That's Bryce Kokum with that long throw in, one of the better throw-ins in the country for George Mason. Cleared out of there by Virginia. Dropped to Madison. And Madison coming off that high ankle sprain. He's not very tall, but Coach George Galnevat says he plays much taller than his frame.
No, he always does. I mean, in fact, when you see it, we'll have a look at this replay, because look at that foul. I mean, tell you what, good thing he hit the ball on that. Even though it was a foul there, but that was studs up as well. And you always run the risk of getting booked when you do that. And of course, on a slightly wet field, Dean, as well, that you're going to move a lot faster when you go down. We were talking about Madison, and he was the one with the tackle there. And it's always surprising when you see him face to face. And while he's still tall to me, he's not as tall as the way he plays, as you said.
Kraus with that right foot, booms it long. George Mason. Good passing right now. Taylor Washington, top of the 18. It'll fall right to the feet there of Ismail. Ahmed Ismail, the junior from Oak Hill, Virginia. A little bit too long, too strong, out of bounds.
Yeah, and have another look at this. He cuts back inside Taylor Washington, and Ahmed Ismail has this, but puts it over, looking for his first goal of the year, and really got to put that on target. I mean, that was set up perfectly for him on this surface. That's got to be on target because, again, with the wet field, you're also going to have rebounds if you get it on target.
Zinkin's pass forward, intercepted by the Patriots. Just about 15 minutes into this one, no score. George Mason Stadium, George Mason and Virginia right here as part of the NSCAA TV College Soccer Special. An impressive 20-game package put together by the NSCAA, led by the Director of College Services, Rob Keogh. And been a lot of fun places. Been to Louisville, saw their amazing stadium. Been to Santa Barbara, always great as they played UCLA. We're headed to Akron, which is a wonderful environment. Been to William and Mary to see them play North Carolina, who at the time was the #1 team in the country. We'll still see Davidson and Duke. We'll see Tulsa and UConn. Big women's game on Friday as West Virginia welcomes in the always fiery Tom Stone and Texas Tech.
Talking about as a player? Because he's coaching the same way he played.
Yeah, he is passionate. Pretty good announcer, too, by the way. Diagonal ball. Eric Bird dropped it and asked for it back again. Bird to the younger Sullivan, rather the older Sullivan, Kyler the senior. Kyler's on it. His red shirt freshman brother is over on the other side. He may end up with the ball. Let's see if he'll get it. He does. Sheldon has it now. Sheldon to the left side. Too strong. Looks like it'll go off Virginia. Throw in as Andy Chapin is over there with the call. Long throw in. That's that throw in from Kokum. He can heave it 40 yards. That's a weapon, Keith.
We know it's a weapon. And look at how. Well, I'll get back to you in a sec, Dean, on that.
Zinkin is in. He'll drop it to Madison. Little nutmeg back to Zinkin. Pushed a little bit. Back heel, and it's a corner kick for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, it was good combination play between Madison and Zinkin there to get that chance. Have another look. Madison going down, beating it, puts it in between the legs there. Zinkin trying to find him on the backfield. Really not much else he can do but try to keep it back, but wins a corner kick for them.
Virginia corner will be taken by number 6, Scott Thompson.
Scott Thompson on the corner kick. Driven far post. Cleared high. Kraus missed it. Came out and then got pushed a little bit, looks like. So
Foul on Virginia.
he backed away from it.
Yeah, he got pushed by Darius Madison, I believe, Dean.
Keith, you can visit the official NSCAA college scoreboard at TopDoorSoccer.com for all of your college score needs. Along with the most up-to-date scores, TopDoorSoccer.com provides box scores, match team, and player stats, video highlights, and game recaps from around the country. Stood up just as he was turning right there for Virginia. Shot comes the other way. Callie Brown gets down, and That started as Eric Bird turned, and George Mason was pouncing, and they're off on the counter.
Right on the counter again. That's Hertzek, you know, who's like technically, if you will, the right midfielder, just coming inside. It's almost like on the right side for them. It's just Colcom, you know, with Hertzek coming inside all the time. It actually causes some problems right now for UVA.
Rosansky wearing number 17 touched that over to Bird, and Bird lost it again. One back by George Mason. They'll say off a Bird. Throw in for the Patriots right at the midfield, fourth officials table.
Here's Hertzek's chance right there. You just see him coming out. You know, when a player like that comes into the midfield and you're not in it like a natural formation, it causes a little problem on who's going to mark him and who picks him up. And you know, we've now seen him free himself 2 or 3 times coming into that spot.
Kraus boots it long, trying to find the head of Taylor Washington. Coming over in support once again is Ryan Zinkin. He'll do the work. Make no mistake.
You see the crowd. I mean, Dean, this is just looks like it's almost standing room only in front of us as well right now. I can't see right at the corners, but it's just been coming in. I'll tell you, the rain that we had a little bit before kickoff didn't stop anybody.
No, not at all. Keep in mind, if I have my dates right, it's a Tuesday night, so.
You got your dates right.
All right. Here's Wharton. Wharton, his role so pivotal in front of that back three. He missed the 2014 opener while recovering from off-season knee injury and sprained MCL. Madison trying to dance around, stood up by Mason. One back by Sullivan.
Stood up by Mason with a double team as well. Mason doing a good job of coming back, and you don't want to leave guys like Darius Madison one-on-one. And every time he's got the ball, we've seen at least 2 white shirts around him.
Mason's formation looks really more like a 4-1-4-1 when you break it down. Madison trying to stay with it. Both teams have not gone to their bench yet. Looking for Mulgrew. Suggs plays it over. Oh, nice move by the redshirt freshman Sullivan. Number 31, Sheldon Sullivan. Great left foot over there. How great is it for the Sullivan family to see both boys out there, right back, left back?
I saw his dad walking in before. I know that he's, I tell you what, he doesn't miss a game. Now he can watch both sons at the same time. And his dad was heavily involved, administrator with the Virginia Olympic Development Program as these guys were going through it.
Mulgrew. He can create his own space, folks. He's going to try to do it here, and he does. He keeps it down, but Callie Brown gets down. That was all just pure athleticism, great soccer from Timmy Mulgrew.
Well, I tell you what it was. The fact is, he's left-footed. You know he wants to go there, and the UVA defenders did not do a good job of trying to force him back, and we basically just kept letting him come across. I don't think any one of them took that responsibility.
Zinkin. He'll drop it back. Sullivan and Wharton. Wharton now back to Sullivan. He'll drop it to Zinkin. Zinkin. Now Sullivan again. Kyler Sullivan. He's the senior. 44 straight games he has started primarily at right back. That one too long. It'll be a goal kick now for Kraus and George Mason. Approaching the halfway mark, we'll get Keith DeBatzling's thoughts first as take a look at this replay.
Yeah, and that's again Mulgrew just coming right across all the defenders. Nobody stepping up there to get on his left foot, and you just know he's going to do that. I mean, if he's going to beat you, make him do it a different way instead of the way that everyone out here knows that's what he wanted to do. Now, the only disappointment there for him is he did not get a hold of that ball the way he wanted to, but they got to do a better job, and that's the reason that Greg Andrulis put him up top today, was to try to isolate him where he can face goal occasionally.
Well, you mentioned Greg Andrulis. Your thoughts on Greg Andrulis' team so far?
I tell you what, I think they withheld the first 5 or 10 minutes, fairly well, where they couldn't keep the ball for long periods, and after that, I think they got to feel really good about themselves. They've been a little bit more dangerous actually. you know, as they go forward, and I think they're feeling, as this goes, you feel more confident, especially playing at home, and you know, he's got to feel pretty good at it right now.
And George Galnovacz's Virginia Cavaliers.
Well, it's going to be the opposite. He's not going to feel bad about it right now, but he can't be happy. What he can't be happy with is the defending part, because the defending part doesn't solidify. He's not going to win the balls in good areas of the field to be able to use his quality attackers.
So there you have it, halfway through the first half. No score. George Mason and Virginia. Virginia, the number 14 team in the country. Eckenrode has been converted to that defensive midfielder role. Transfer from Radford University, the home of Dante Washington, who back in the 90s was an elite goal scorer for the U.S. Olympic team.
Dante, you'd have to say Dante, one of the best goal scorers college soccer ever saw, actually.
Daniel Huffman will have it for a moment. He'll lose it. Played here now to Taylor Washington. Washington feeling some pressure from Zinkin. Drops it back again to Huffman. Huffman will lose it. Bird will win it. That was Wharton, rather, as he'll play it up top. Dancing around with it is Nico Corvo, and Corvo, a player you also know pretty well.
Yeah, he's one of a number of players out here for UVA that played in the Olympic Development Program, both with Maryland and then with a lot of the Virginia guys with Virginia, but with the region team. And you know, a story about Nico, he came as a 15-year-old with their U-70 team to Croatia and was the best player, one of the best players in the entire tournament.
Corvo, a couple goals in the last 4 games, stood up right at the 18. Lee Chapin not falling for it, as for sure they were trying to play for a free kick right at the top of the 18.
We'll have a look at this, Dean, you know, as he's making the move there, and you know, I think that's a foul. You know, he's made the move. He's turned Hoffman's turned the guy, and you know, he turns right in front of him. Sullivan, I think that's a foul. In fact, I think it's a pretty obvious foul.
Huffman. Nice work by Huffman just to earn a throw-in. So throw-in. They won't wait for Kokum to come over on that side. Huffman will get to it first. Hurstek calling for it. Hurstek, good tackle by Sullivan. Crashing in there was Yannick Eckenrode. Counter now for Virginia. One man to beat, and stepping up there was Bryce Kokum, as Madison was off to the races, Keith.
Yeah, he was, and Kokum again getting in there and breaking up those plays.
Mulgrew will fight for everything. Rain coming down pretty good now. Fans don't seem to mind, though. They break out the umbrellas.
Well, I'll tell you what, the speed of the field's there already. With the rain coming, it's going to be even faster. It's been frantic back and forth the entire game so far.
George Galnovac is off the bench, taking in the rain right now. Ahmed Ismail snapping it across, looking for Eckenrode, who comes forward. Back in to the 18. Handled by Virginia, cleared long as Virginia withstanding some pressure here now from the home team.
They are. Those little balls that go in there to the 18 and actually drop before the defender gets to them can be really difficult with the rain and how they might skip by you.
Dirks. And Dirks right to Callie Brown.
Again, Mason breaking up every attack lately that UVA's been trying to do, and they're trying to get that ball into Madison, and either one player or another steps in to break it up. That time, Cullen Hunter.
Stripped right there by Sullivan. So neat. Played in. Madison is in. Madison could score. Kraus comes up, rips it off his shoe, and gobbles it up. Madison was in, only had to beat Kraus, but Kraus went right to the ball.
No, he went right to the ball. As we look at this again, actually, credit the field for defending a bit too, because this pass that came in there just gets a little bit away because of the speed of it. But Kraus, the timing perfect, smothering that ball. And that's the danger too, as George Mason's feeling a lot better about their attack and everything. They've still got to keep things tight in the back. You know, Madison can get by you at any time.
Elaine Sargent, a freshman, as George Mason had a ton of seniors, 6 senior starters left, 7 that played substantial minutes. So a lot of work for Greg Andrulis to replace all of those seniors that played a ton of minutes last year. And this freshman Sargent has come in and done a nice job. Suggs will play it back to Brown.
There's good stuff, Dean, by George Mason. I think they're just ever so slightly off in those final passes, but really close. And you know, with the rain going down, the ball skipping a little bit, anything can slide through.
Here comes Todd Wharton. On the right, he's got Zinkin. Wharton looking to dial the entire time, and trust me, folks, this young man, Stefan Kraus, it's not going to be easy to beat him, even in these conditions, from that far of distance, that kind of angle.
No, exactly, and actually Wharton didn't get a hold of the way that he wanted to, and you know, Wharton getting a little bit, you know, he's a holding midfield, but he will attack like that when he can, and again, the rain not bothering the crowd whatsoever.
Umbrellas are out. No score here, Virginia and George Mason. And as you said, Keith, the Batsnake, the rain not slowing down anybody.
No, it's not. You know, actually, you know, the field is outstanding. This field could take a ton of rain without being a problem, and having it a little wet right now makes this a better game. This ball will definitely move nice and sharp, and you know, anyone who watches the pro and international games know that they water the field ahead of time for this exact reason.
Cavaliers trying to put attack back together again. Look at George Mason. So pesky. Hurstek will win it. He looks up, though, and he sees 4 blue jerseys, looking for a white one. Coming back, a foul. That could be a card. Keith the Batsnake putting the card signal up here, and in the books is Virginia.
Jake Rosansky with that card with a bad tackle. No question from Andy Chapman for that.
Yellow card warning issued to Virginia's number 17, Jake Rosansky.
You see this portion of the broadcast brought to you by War Game. We'll talk to the president of George Mason, Dr. Angel Cabrera, in the second half about this impressive initiative, really geared at putting an end to domestic violence and sexual assault. So it'll be interesting to talk to him. It'll be a throw-in far side for the Virginia Cavaliers. Jake Rosansky, you see it right there with the yellow card. And Keith, when you think about Virginia, you think Bruce Arena, and then you immediately go to George Galnavach. As George Galnavach played for Bruce Arena, assistant coach when Bruce Arena won the 5 national championships. He got one on his own. The guy just bleeds Cavalier orange and blue.
Well, he does, and it's interesting because, you know, it's hard to believe, actually, this is his 19th year, you know, at UVA. I mean, you still almost think Bruce Arena a little bit, which is unfair to George, you know, because Bruce was such a legend, you know, with UVA and, of course, in U.S. soccer. But, yeah, you know, what an outstanding player George was, and certainly continued this program. And that's not easy, step into those shoes for sure.
Kyler Sullivan over to Todd Wharton, up to Madison. Madison looked up, saw Corvu for a second. Now it's dropped back to Rosansky. Rosansky's got to be careful. He's got that card. Now here's the deal right now. They're leaving Mulgrew kind of on an island, and with those 3 phenomenal athletes in the back for Virginia, it won't be easy even for a talent like Mulgrew with his 8 goals on the season already.
No, it's not easy, but, you know, he is a player that they hope when they get it into his feet, he can actually bring some of the midfielders into play. So it gets into Mulgrew, he lays it back, and the other players going forward. But the other thing that they're doing well is Zach Hurstek coming into those areas and causing those players around Mulgrew to have to decide, the defenders, am I going to stay with Mulgrew or I'm going to go to Hrstek? And I think that's the biggest issue that UVA has to sort out.
Keith, you got to love, hang on a second, George Mason pushed to the ground again, another foul there, and Eric Bird's got to be a little bit careful because after the foul and the whistle, he boomed one off of a George Mason player. There's Greg Andrulis, John O'Hara, the fine coaching staff as well. Trevor Singer, who was part of the NSCAA's 30 under 30, Fro Adu. Wonderful coaching staff for the Patriots. Take a look at that foul.
And again, you're right, Eric Bird losing his head a little bit there, and he's actually got to be the one that pulls UVA together right now because they've lost their rhythm and focus.
Andy Chapin will let it get back into order as falling to the ground there was Sheldon Sullivan, number 31, and going to the right there is Callie Brown.
He did, and he called a foul. I tell you, I don't believe in calling a foul there when the keeper has the ball in his hands, actually. Even if the foul occurred, you let the guy know you saw it, but let the keeper keep playing with the ball in his hand.
Right, and go ahead and get it out if he wants to.
Yeah.
Well said. Started to say, though, Keith Tabatsik, even with the rain, I love this game. I loved it when Rob Kehoe put it on the schedule. Midweek game, 2 in-state teams here in Virginia and George Mason. Madison on it. You got the great history of Virginia, and you've got a program in George Mason which would, as a mid-major, likes to knock off those major teams. Here's Virginia inside the 18, knocked out of bounds.
Well, I like it because it's 20 minutes from my house, Dean. So, I'll take all those reasons as well and then add on 20 minutes to my house.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's now really blowing and raining. Nobody's leaving.
Play a good soccer game. People are certainly going to stay anyways. And it's a great mix of the crowd too. It's a good student thing. It's a tremendous group of the soccer community in Virginia, Northern Virginia, one of the strongest soccer hotbeds in the whole country. And so I've seen so many youth players and teams out here tonight as well. But like you said, one you circle on the schedule early on.
Suggs did well to hold off Timmy Mulgrew, and now Virginia will work it out of the back. Zinkin. He'll drop it back, very patient, finds Todd Wharton, played in the middle to Bird. Bird will turn. And Bird has been trying to make that diagonal pass, and it seems like George Mason has all the answers right now for Bird. They play it up top to Mulgrew. And Suggs will play it all the way back to Brown.
Yeah, well, what George Mason is doing really well at is blocking those entry passes for the most part. Janik Eckenrode and Ahmed Ismail doing a really good job at getting in front of those balls.
Madison pushed down by Elaine Sargent, the Canadian. Very fast young freshman is Sargent. Look at the rain coming down here.
Well, let's state the obvious here. We're in this rain with a free kick from that distance. Normally you might say it's a bit deep, but if you can get that ball, especially get that ball to hit the ground before it gets to the keeper, it's going to be a really difficult situation. You definitely have to have players running in for rebounds on both sides.
What a great look. You can also see how this surface is holding up. Phenomenal playing surface. The Patriot Bermuda. You got to give the George Mason staff a lot of credit for how beautiful this place looks and continues to look despite the rain. Here's Virginia with a shot. Down and in, and the Cavaliers, the rebound. Krause couldn't handle it. Oh, no, the flag is up. It will not count. The flag is up, and the Cavaliers' goal will not count. Stays zeros.
Yeah, going in for the rebound, and he's leaving too early. So as this shot goes, you can see right there, he's hit. Boy, that is close. And Darius Madison there for the rebound, but looks like just offside that ball is hit. And exactly the type of ball that we said would cause problems on this. And hopefully we'll get another look at that and just see where Darius was when that ball was hit. And you know what it was, too, is that there was hesitation on that free kick, and I think that's why Darius got just a little bit ahead of it.
Sullivan. Let's take a look one more time at whether Madison. So Madison, he's already leaning a little bit forward.
Now he goes right there.
Yeah,
he's off.
He got past number 5 before he hit it.
Yeah, he's off. You know what? If I'm that fast, I don't need a head start, by the way. You know, he can be back a little bit and still get in on that rebound. But that was largely because of the hesitation that UVA did in their free kick. And, you know, Darius just trying to get in there. And he said, you hit those balls that will drop before the goalkeeper, a good chance for a rebound.
Bryce Kokum, number 5, thought maybe he was keeping Madison on, but pretty clear shot right there, Keith. I'd say is a decent call. High pressure here, 8 minutes remaining in the first half. We'll have a great feature from the good folks at George Mason coming up at halftime. We'll also take a look at the Disney Soccer Player of the Week, and we'll break down the NSCAA Continental Tire Top 25. Virginia's in. I think George Mason should be in as well. I think
that's kind of harsh. It'd be 7-0-2, get a loss, go to 7-1-2, and drop out.
The Patriots back across, handled by Brown. Deflected, and Brown will clean it up.
I'll tell you, a good, strong shot in there. And again, anything on target has chances for rebounds right now. And George Mason looking good, rebounding, getting right back after that goal call back on the other end.
So the Cavaliers thought they had the first goal of this match, a brilliant free kick. Saved. How about this last opportunity, though, by the Patriots?
Yeah, and Hoffman turning on that left foot to put it in there. And look at that. That's Zach Hursak again, getting all the way over for that.
He's always there, Keith. Well said. Virginia now. Under 8 minutes remaining in the first half. The rain still swirling around. You can feel the energy of the crowd here, though. They've got a track around this field, so you're a little bit further away. But that is not stopping the energy of this crowd. I like it, Keith.
Yeah, it's not stopping it. Boy, it'd be nice if this was right on top of the field. It'll go right down on top of the players, and that helps. One thing that really helps as well is, with that crowd, what helps as well is the fact they're playing good soccer and why nobody's made any subs here.
Left side for the Cavaliers. Is it deflected? It is. It'll be a corner kick for Virginia. Look at Kraus going over to the towel, getting the gloves dry. And Kraus, who's been so perfect, mentioned that mistake against Navy. Probably Greg Andrulis will add a mistake on not handling that free kick, but you got to figure the weather playing a role in that as well. Here's Wharton on the corner.
Andy Chapin talking to the players in the middle, trying to free themselves from each other. Darius Madison and Cullen Hunter.
That corner kick knocked out of there by George Mason. In the back, though, Suggs and Sullivan, they do such a great job.
I'll say for the first time tonight, we're actually just seeing somebody warming up for George Mason. I mean, there certainly has been no reason to make any subs. Both teams are going back and forth without any problems.
Rosansky dropping one in. Kraus comes out. The Giant will handle it. Both these keepers, very big, decent wingspan, commanding in front of the goal. And right behind Callie Brown, worth mentioning one more time, Jeff Caldwell, who's played with the US U17, U18, and U20 teams, actually left for training camp September 1st through 10th with the U20s, and when he came back, Mr. Brown had his job again.
He sure did, and a little deja vu for him after last year as well. Good problem for George Gelnovich to have two keepers of that quality.
Zinkin, he's looked pretty good on the right side. Drop to Wharton. They usually look to find Bird. Madison tracking back. He wants to get a touch on it, and he'll get it. Here's Madison. We've said Madison's name quite a bit. We have not said Corable's name as much.
Yeah, you're right, Dean. He has been kind of quiet and hasn't been able to get that ball.
Wow, great movement right there. Coming all the way forward. Rosansky, who got that yellow card, he was going around George Mason players like they were cones.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Mason players, they were kind of keeping their feet except for that one and then lunging at the end. And, but I think, again, an example of people thinking someone else is going to stop them. And, they really didn't get two players in good position to stop that penetration.
Now the Patriots try to keep it on the surface. Taylor Washington making a little bit of run before he drops it to the back. The back four, Lane Sargent, Cullen Hunter are your center backs. Bryce Kokum on the right side, Taylor Washington on the left, and they're under pressure here again. Mason able to get a piece of it, but one back here by Todd Wharton. Wharton played up top, and there's a Lane Sargent, the freshman. Great speed. He'll have it for a moment, then he'll lose it. Looked like Sargent with the foul, and Virginia will now have a free kick right in the middle of the field.
Yeah, that was Sargent coming way out from the center back position. And Eric Bird getting fouled on that, so we have another look at that, and Sargent coming in and right there getting in, just stepping on his foot, actually. You're really reaching with the wrong foot. Reach with his right foot there, and they go with that left foot to block that one.
Cleared out of there by George Mason. George Mason, part of the Atlantic 10, Virginia, part of the ACC, which it's hard to argue about the power of ACC soccer. 3 teams a year ago in the Final Four. Of course, Maryland now part of the Big Ten. But you think Maryland, Virginia, Notre Dame a year ago. Madison had it for a moment. One back by George Mason. Here's Hurstek again. Look at that nifty play by Hurstek. Here comes George Mason. They have some numbers right now. Let's see what they can do. The Patriots tuck back in. Henning Dirks, great move, right side. Back across. Hurstek is there. And Virginia didn't panic, but a nice counter for George Mason.
Well, I'll tell you, Virginia didn't panic. They didn't have a choice. They couldn't get to that ball, did they? And that ball coming across, that was the best play series of the whole game there. I mean, what a great counterattack, and almost finishing that. I just missed Hurstek coming in.
Well, and it was Hurstek who made the nifty move right at midfield to really free the play for the Patriots. And guess who was in the middle at the end? Hurstek again.
Yeah, he's been so impressive this half.
Boy, we put the spotlight on Bird, and Bird, his touches, connecting passes, not quite on, at least so far. You know they will be, though. Madison. Look at him tuck back. Madison, left and right. Can he stay with it? He does. Did he earn a corner? And more individual quality play here, both teams.
Yeah, and I see Matt, this replay coming down the other end with George Mason. And we said that Hurstek had just played this ball. Now it goes wide. And look at the cross come in. And that's Hurstek running through him. UVA has not marked him on any one of those runs, no matter what part of the field he's come in from.
Great work by Apparent Gravity Media. Back across, giving you that replay. Ooh, look at that. Guarding that post, Stephen Kraus, glued to the near post, the way they teach you, Keith.
No, absolutely. Just stayed there, was able to get this. And again, this corner kick looking like the one at the beginning of the half with Eric Bird getting over the back. So clearly a set piece there that's planned for Bird to try to head that back across.
Dropped into space. Virginia has 30 seconds to try to get one. Look at Sargent. And Sargent manhandled there by Korovu. Nico Korovu, the sophomore.
Seven, 6, 5.
Well, we counted down, a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, a lot of opportunities. Everybody staying, but no score after 45, George Mason and Virginia.
No, Dean, I tell you what, an entertaining half, though. I mean, end to end, and both teams getting chances. A goal called back that was rightly called back with Darius Madison being offsides, and then Hertzdeck, who's just been he's seen every single part of this field and causing all sorts of problems for the UVA defense, and almost getting on the end of that cross at the end as well. And you got to be kind of impressed with the moments of both teams, but certainly with George Mason overall.
And Greg Andrulis, you can see him there on your screen a moment ago. You see the crowd. The umbrellas are out. It is a wonderful crowd here at George Mason Stadium. You got to love the support, not just from the students, but from the community. As make no mistake, the Patriots have embraced the community, and they're out here supporting their soccer team as we wait for Greg Andrulis to get set and talk to us about his thoughts here on the first half. And Dean Linke along with Keith Tabatsnik at halftime. Greg Andrulis joins us. Greg, an exciting first 45 minutes. Your thoughts?
First of all, thanks for coming. We appreciate you guys being here celebrating a great night of soccer in Fairfax. We want to thank George and Virginia for making this game possible. It means an awful lot. Great first half, I think, for both teams, pushing it. Our getting out on the transition. We'd like to finish one of those chances, but I think if we stay tight in the back, and we'll get some more of those chances. But they're a very talented team. It's going to be a heck of a half.
Well, aside from not finishing those chances, what would you say is your biggest concern that you'd have to try to tighten up for the second half?
Well, they were gaining too much territory too easy, I think, near the second part of the first half. We got a little bit soft, I think, defensively. We do have to stretch our pressure a little bit, make it a little harder for them to earn the space out on the field.
All right, Coach, look forward to a great second half of soccer. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Greg Andrulis, the fine head coach of that school right there, George Mason. After 45 minutes of play, George Mason 0 and number 14, Virginia 0.
You watch the match live. You road trip to the away games. You rise and fall with every run. Above all, you live your love of the game. Whatever you do, get there with Continental Tires and improve your grip with extreme contact traction.
Continental Tire, for what you do.
Each year, the NSCAA puts over 7,000 coaches through our coaching education program. Youth, high school, and college coaches at all levels participate in the diploma courses. No matter where you are in your coaching path, we have something for you. Join your peers and get educated. Better coaching, better players, better game. NSCAA Coaching Academy. Improving soccer, one coach at a time. Register today at nscaa.com/education.
You call yourself a muskrat?
There are days, and there are glory days.
Halftime here in Fairfax, Virginia. George Mason and the Virginia Cavaliers. Time now to take a look at the Disney Soccer Player of the Week. George Kiefer, senior forward. Tyler Blackwood getting it done.
Yeah, he really is getting it done this last week. A 2-win week for South Florida because of him. 9 points. He even had a hat trick this week. The senior from London, England. Congratulations.
We thank Channing Swears and everybody at Disney Soccer. Let's take a look now at the NSCAA Continental Tire Top 10 It changes every week, and now Jamie Clark in Washington, number 1.
Yeah, Jamie Clark replaced his dad in the number 1 spot as Washington had 2 big wins this week over Cal and Stanford. And then you see Penn State there at number 3. And by the way, Penn State still no losses on the year. They beat Bucknell and Rutgers this past week. Also in McIntyre, getting it done at Syracuse at number 4 there. And, of course, Indiana now getting into the top 10 where they feel they always belong. And, big win over St. Louis this week for them.
Congratulations to Todd Yeagley, won a national championship a couple years ago. 11 through 20, Virginia at number 14.
Well, Virginia at number 14 there, and the second RPI, they're at number 12, sitting in a good spot, and they're playing very well. In fact, you look at all these teams here. Louisville actually, with big game tonight as well. And, American, my place, got to give them a shout-out at number 20.
Michigan State, Damon Renton at 19. And your final 5 here, UAB in the top 25.
Yeah, UAB in the top 25, and Oregon State and North Carolina Wilmington both getting in, and also Northwestern after not being ranked last week.
They beat Maryland 3-2 in overtime. Your top 25 is brought to you by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Find out more at ContinentalTire.com. And believe it or not, we're not done with the broadcast here on NSCAA TV. We've got more games. West Virginia, Texas Tech women, and then Storrs, Connecticut on Saturday for UConn Tulsa.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that's going to be a big one for Ray Reid. They need to get on track, having one of the worst starts in the history of Connecticut soccer in modern history.
We'll be back with more right here from George Mason. It's halftime. George Mason and Virginia right here on NSCAA TV.
You watch the match live. You road trip to the away games. You rise and fall with every run. Above all, you live your love of the game. Whatever you do, get there with Continental Tires and improve your grip with extreme contact traction.
Continental Tire, for what you do.
I had a coach named Ziggy Schmidt. He got a hold of me at 18 years old. It was great for me because, he was strict on us, he was strong with us, but he was very fair. I have to make time for the things I want to do. I want to get better at my sport. I have to take some time, set time aside and do that. Really taught me about the game in general, the tactics, how to watch a game, how to see a game. A lot of the lessons I learned from Ziggy, I kept with me throughout my whole career. And it was good because, I always wonder what my path would have been like if I had a different coach.
See what you're made of.
You ever coached under 12s before?
Can't say I have.
You're not a team. You don't deserve to be a team.
Sorry, I shouted it. It's not just about football. It's about dreams.
Welcome back to a rainy Fairfax, Virginia, George Mason Stadium. It's halftime, George Mason 0, Virginia 0, and what a great program they've established here at George Mason. Let's take a look at exactly what I'm talking about.
before they open the season.
What makes the program here at Mason so special, I believe, is the history. That's a big part of it. The tradition, the success of the program over decades. Certainly started back when Richard Broad really got things going here and brought national prominence to the program. Continued with Gordon Bradley, an iconic coach. And in the last 10 years, we've been in the NCAA tournament 3 years and 3 conference championships. I think the school is a destination for the best local players in Northern Virginia, and like the university, we've been able to attract quality student athletes from all over the world.
Well, a lot of time and effort has gone into this program, and Craig has done a terrific job with the present age, but back in the day, we really had to build this pretty much from scratch. When I started out, there was just a field and sort of a little rutted area, which they called a track around the outside. And it's come a long way since that. So there's a lot of pride, a lot of tradition, and a lot of great people that really went into building it in the early days.
We've been kind of ingrained in the community in the area. We get good support from the folks around, the youth groups around, youth clubs. And we've had some tremendous coaching here at George Mason as well over the years. Started when I was playing with Coach Broad, and then of course I played for my dad, and he was here for about 16 years. So to have a program where we bring in the likes of Gordon Bradley to train and teach these young kids, these young players, it's brought a great tradition to this school.
The Hall of Fame is a great way to recognize not only past players, but some of the more recent guys who made great contributions to the program. Like our assistant coach, John O'Hara, who's been inducted a few years ago. He was an All-American here, played professionally in Europe and at home, and he's a great mentor and role model for our current players, such as this year's inductees, Damien O'Rourke, who was a freshman All-American at Mason a few years back.
The list goes on. It's great. Sam Sumo being one. He came over from Liberia, played with him for a couple of years, and just a fantastic player. Led the Lit Nation in scoring, was an All-American player. Tamir Linhart, my dad called Tamir Linhart one of probably the most clinical finisher that he's ever seen play. High praise for Tamir. Richie Kachow, tremendous athlete, played on the U.S. national team for a little while. He's out in Colorado now, played in the MLS for 10 years. Vinny Marco Trujillo, John Ferrandino. I mean, the list goes on about some great players that have come through this program.
So it's a rich tradition. You're there with other really distinguished people, Gordon Bradley and my own players, Mike Reynolds, Fred Thompson, Colin Kerr, our captains, Scott Schiffert and Joe Alvarez, and other people there. Ken Bernstein had a great career as a goalkeeper here. Henry Castaneda, who was an outstanding goalkeeper before I got here and then assisted me as our goalkeeper trainer. Bob Lilly, who's now coaching professionally. Mike Garrett, who had a 14-year professional career. To be included with people like that is really special.
And I do think some of the players who played here and have had some success recently will be candidates in the future. Players like Sean Kelly, who was an All-American. Richard Edgar, who was an All-American. John Barra, who's played professionally in the MLS for the New York Red Bulls and is now playing professionally. We've had some phenomenal players in the last 10 years, and hopefully their careers can get them to the point where their peers will elect them into the Hall of Fame, like some of the past greats that are already in.
Tell you, that was an amazing piece on George Mason. I actually loved it. Thank you, George Mason, for putting that together. It's 0-0 here. Dean Linke along with Keith the Batsnake, and that'll roll right to the highlights, and we'll see what we had here in the first 45.
So in the first 45, we had it going back and forth, but now this ball's coming out for a second-range shot, going way over the top, and that shot by Ahmed Ismail looking for his first goal, and it's Mason again breaking out. And we see this ball being played through, and of course you're going to say his name. We said it all night. Zach Hurstek coming on top of that, and this time it's Timmy Mulgrew going through. He's just to his left, leaving for the shot. Not quite there. Could not get it past Callie Brown. Yeah. And on the other end, this is Madison going through, and what a great save there by Stefan Kraus, smothering that ball. And look at that, not much of a challenge on that one. And again, Dean, look at this. Zach Hurstek. We just keep saying his name. He's all over the place. That's the only way they can stop him.
One last opportunity here for George Mason in the first half, but handled there by Callie Brown in the rain. As we'll take a look here at a shot here for Virginia. This was the big one.
Yeah, that was a free kick. It was going to Darius Madison. Thinks he's got a goal, but no, he was offside just by a little bit.
George Galnavets, I'll tell you what, George, even in the rain, those 45 minutes, I really enjoyed it. Your thoughts on the first half, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's a wet, big crowd, a lot of excitement, a lot of adrenaline. We just need to deal with counterattacks. Number 11, long throw, and big kick by the goalkeeper. I mean, those are the things we got to deal with, and then trying to break down, 2 blocks of 4. Those are the things that we have to deal with.
Yeah, well, certainly that was a difficult thing. What about with the rain coming in? I mean, you think that's going to actually help maybe a guy like Darius Madison get through or something?
I think the rain's fine. It's not making a difference. The ball's moving fast. I think it's great.
George, good luck in the second half.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back with a second half kickoff.
The NCAA convention to me is probably the best place to get any sort of education of a wide variety that you can go in the world.
Always nice to see who you wander across in the hallways, might have a quick word with.
So I think it's exciting to meet youth coaches and high school coaches and even college coaches who are all really passionate about the sport.
It's a learning experience. I think it's invaluable both from a coach standpoint and from an administrative standpoint.
Now is your chance to be part of the most popular soccer camp in North America. Challenger Sports offers a wide range of programs with over 3,000 British Soccer, Tetra Brazil, and Soccer Plus camps for players of all ages and abilities. Join me and Challenger's talented and committed coaches as we help develop new skills, build confidence, and find the magic in your game.
Summer camps are filling up. Register early at challengersports.com and get your free game jersey today.
Here are the stats here. 5 shots for both teams. Pretty even right there, even on corners as we get ready for the second half. I want to remind everybody that the broadcast of this match is authorized by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description without the express written permission of the NSCAA is strictly prohibited. Tonight's match was produced for the NSCAA by Apparent Gravity Media. Here we go. Start the second half. Virginia in all blue. George Mason in all white. Keith, and it was good to hear from both George Galnavach and Greg Andrulis.
Yeah, both of them. Both of them happy with how their teams did. Looking at a couple things, they got to tighten up a little bit, and certainly UVA feeling very difficult to get through that defense of George Mason, and that final pass hasn't been good. George Mason, having better looks really. It was interesting in the first half, in the first 5 or 10 minutes of that half. UVA certainly had the upper hand, and George Mason absorbed that pretty well, and they got into their own rhythm and certainly counterattacked really well.
Bird played into the 18. Actually, looks like perhaps the rain has stopped, which will make it a nice, pleasant final 45 here, Keith. Surface will be wet and slick. It'll play fast, which means perhaps one of these balls can get by these two talented goalkeepers.
Well, yeah, as George Galnavach said, the field is in really good shape regardless of the rain.
Zinkin back across. Virginia comes out strong here in the first minute. Sheldon Sullivan. Over to Suggs. Now, Jake Rosansky. Now, remember, he got that yellow card in the first half, so Rosansky's got to be careful as he sits in front of those three in the back, Wharton and Rosansky.
As you're talking about their lineup right now, actually neither team made a change. There was no subs in the first half. George Mason had somebody trying to get it in the last 5 minutes. The ball never went out of bounds. I actually love that, to have a whole half go with no subs.
Of course, all these games presented by the good folks from Continental Tire. Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Find out more at ContinentalTire.com. The Cavaliers with the shot from distance. No problem for Kraus.
And ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we see it again, and you said Kraus takes care of this one with the shot coming in. Again, Virginia looking early, and the ball going over. Kraus seems to have cut down that angle. This is what Virginia did in the first half as well. I think in the first 5 minutes plus 10 minutes, they took the upper hand. But again, not having a great chance. I mean, obviously you can't really call the one that was offside a great chance. The shot that led to the rebound was good because I said in this weather that thing dropping in front of the goalkeeper makes it real difficult to hold.
The Cavaliers on the attack. Zinkin. Drop back over, shot for Virginia. Kraus gets low, parries it away. It'll be a corner kick for the Cavaliers as it was Jake Rosansky who started that attack, number 17.
Yeah, he's coming in again, and he lays it off the shot, but we missed that save there. We'll get that again. I mean, what a tremendous kick save by Kraus, and tested early again, just 4 minutes into the second half.
Taken by number 7, Todd Wharton.
Wharton on the corner. Virginia has looked good here to start the second half. First 4 minutes has been mostly Cavaliers. Virginia back across looking for Madison. Kraus gets his right hand on it. Madison was offside. It didn't matter.
Offside.
As we'll try to take a look at that last save by Kraus.
No, here we go. That's with the shot there, and that shot coming in by Ryan Zinkin. And again, look at that save there. And we've talked about both goalkeepers tonight, Dean, being outstanding keepers. He's proving it there. And, big guy getting down quickly and making himself big. And so the save comes with his leg. But, boy, I tell you, Zinkin's going to want that one back. I mean, you don't get that wide open, do you?
No, that man right there, though, third-team NSCAA All-American as a freshman a year ago, the German. And he's got a pretty good coach, John O'Hara. Boy, what a wonderful piece we saw at halftime, by the way, about the history of this program. Phenomenal players, great coaching under Richard Broad and Gordon Bradley, and now Greg Andrulis. And well, that was fun. Well done, Keith.
I'll tell you what, that was outstanding. Just to sit here and watch that, and all those players. Those are players that Georgetown played against quite a bit. And I'll tell you what, those days George Mason was just such a tough program back then, and all these coaches, and Gordon after Richard Broad and Greg Andrulis keeping that tradition going.
Just a step short right there. Number 7, Zach Hurstek, the sophomore, who looked so good in the first half. He was everywhere for George Mason. Right side. Is it too long? No, it'll hold up. The rain is coming out again. Tonight's NSCAA, we've got the 2015 NSCAA convention, January 14th through 18th in Philadelphia. You can register now by going to nscaa.com/convention. The MLS draft, the NWSL draft, the best clinicians in the world. It's the world's largest soccer show, as we call it, Keith.
I'll tell you, the amount of coaches that go there, I mean, was it well over 10,000 last year at the convention, and incredible experience. As I keep saying all year, if you haven't been before, go. If you have been, I know you're going to be going back anyways.
Will we see a goal in this one? We've had a couple close opportunities. We thought we had one from Madison, but he was offside on the free kick. Sullivan does well just to keep it in bounds. One back, though, here by George Mason. Here's Dirks. Dirks looking up. He'll step over. Creates his own space for a moment. Closed down, though. Wharton comes over. So does Bird.
And that problem there, Dean, is that Sullivan, the left back, in just a 3-back system, as he's going forward there, and he's up near midfield, him and Nico Corvo trying to play the ball back and forth. You lose it there, and they have that space to attack, and this is where they got into here. And again, we get that ball going across. He's trying to get across to get that shot, Henning Dirks, and couldn't quite find the space to unload. And he's got 4 goals on the year, looking for his 5th. The freshman from Germany. Had a little bit of time with the German under-15 national team, actually.
Few minutes, we'll be joined by Dr. Angel Cabrera, the fine president of George Mason University, and the man is huge in social media as well. He's got some great initiatives and some great athletic programs as well. Of course, you can't beat the academic programs here at George Mason, Keith.
No, I tell you, this school has grown so much since the first times I ever knew about it when I was playing at American University, and we used to play against these teams. And Richard Broad, who was coaching back then, and the school has just expanded and expanded, and real quality school, quality programs on the fields and in the classrooms. Again, this is Sheldon Sullivan, the left back. His brother Kyler, has to be really careful as closer he gets up to that line of defenders.
Here come the Cavaliers, trying to get one, far side. Looking left post, Bird is calling for it. Bird will try to get to it. Got just a touch on it as it'll fall to Sullivan. He'll play it now to Wharton. No score here still at George Mason Stadium. George Mason and Virginia, the rain not holding anybody back. A wonderful crowd here tonight on a Tuesday night, A10 ACC. It's been a lot of fun, Keith.
This has been fun, and some of these individual players are fun as well as we see them. It might take that to win this game. We saw with George Mason there, Henning Dirks going across the field, and he's been moving around to try to get the ball. And Henning Dirks almost looking like he's the right midfielder right now, and Zach Herstak gone officially into the center midfield. He may as well because he was playing there almost the whole time.
Second half rolling on here. George Mason and Virginia. As promised, we're joined now by Dr. Angel Cabrera. What an amazing job he's done here as the president, coming on in July of 2012. And Dr. Angel Cabrera, terrific atmosphere tonight hit Mason against UVA. Of course, not many know that George Mason 50 years ago was a branch of UVA.
Indeed, that's how this university got started. We have strong ties with UVA. And by the way, I will take this opportunity to send really all of our support and all of our thoughts to University of Virginia student Hannah Graham and her family, which I know they're going through just a terrible time, and I just want them to know that the entire Mason community keeps them in our thoughts. It's really a bad situation, and really we're hoping for really a quick solution to the situation.
Of course we are. No, that's very well said. And we're here at the soccer game here, and I understand that you are soccer is nothing of a new to you or anything like that. But what I did understand that you need to know before I go on with this question, I'm a Barcelona fan.
No one is perfect.
I like it.
But that was my line.
Here's a shot by Madison, saved away there as Dr. Angel Cabrera from Madrid. So go ahead and tell Keith where real soccer's played as we take a look at the shot first.
We have a look at this shot coming in. Darius Madison on the ball, putting the shot there, but it's been hard to get it by the goalkeeper, Stefan Kraus, just like it's hard to get it by the Barcelona goalkeeper. Oh, sorry, goalkeeper.
That's a pretty solid goalkeeper that we have. That was a great save. But no, let me see what's going to happen here and
see what this corner kick brings about.
Corner kick for Virginia. Back across the Cavaliers. Wharton keeps it down, deflected off. Flag stays down, and Virginia has scored even with Dr. Angel Cabrera in the booth. The Cavaliers get a goal off the deflection. The flag does not come up. We'll try to clarify who scored. Eric Bird with the goal, the assist to Todd Wharton.
By number 11, Eric Bird. That's his
They're just having a look at that, and you see Eric Berg hanging right there, and boy, just on sides as well. He was standing, but the goalkeeper was ahead of him, but it looks like two defenders were there very close, and boy, right place at the right time for Eric Berg. That ball just hanging in there for him.
Nicely done indeed. But as those of us who watch a lot of soccer and play it, we know that everything can happen in a game. So we'll see.
That's the voice of Dr. Angel Cabrera, the fine president here at George Mason. And go ahead, we got to get the point in. Keith wants to talk about Barcelona, but we know you're from Madrid and you're a huge soccer fan.
Exactly. Well, you know, one of the great things about soccer is that really everyone can play it. You don't need very expensive equipment. All you need is a ball in the field and a bunch of people who want to play. And that's why it's the sport that has probably tied the whole world together more than any other sport.
Now, one of the things we also love about you, Dr. Cabrera, is we're talking about the fact that soccer is the world's game. And George Mason, very geographically diverse, students from all 50 states, 130 countries. What do you attribute that to here at George Mason?
Well, you know, we are indeed, we have become the largest university in public university in the Commonwealth, starting like a branch of University of Virginia, as we said. And it's a pretty amazing story of growth and diversity and great successes. Some people don't know this, but we are currently considered as one of the top 200 research universities in the world. And we have produced 2 Nobel Prize winners and achieving a lot of academic success, but at the same time being open to an increasingly diverse student body. We have people from absolutely all over the world. It's a very exciting place to be.
Dr. Angel Cabrera, we know the academics are strong. The athletics also great under Brad Edwards, the former star for the Washington Redskins, doing a great job with the athletic department.
We already can tell his presence has already made a difference. Great leadership, great understanding of sports and athletics, but at the same time, a deep commitment to academics and to the well-being of our student athletes. Really a terrific guy. It's been amazing to see him at work, and I can't wait to see all the things he's going to do here.
And Dr. Cabrera, special and important week here at George Mason with the university's Fear to Freedom initiative. You see the T-shirts out here. Tell us all you can about it, please.
Well, you know, it's pretty sad, but I'm delighted that everybody from President Obama to Virginia Governor McAuliffe and really every government official is bringing everybody's attention on this issue. About 1 in 5 women of college age will be really the victims of sexual assault. We have to stop that, and it's on all of us to do that. That's what we're trying to do with this pledge, where today the entire Mason community is pledging to end sexual violence. Most of the victims tend to be women, and really this just cannot continue. If one doesn't feel safe on a college campus, you just cannot really learn and grow as an individual. So it's on all of us. I really thank you for asking the question, for bringing attention on this issue, and I'm hoping that we'll do much better in years to come.
I'm gonna give you a chance to give me a rundown of how you think Real Madrid will do this year. I know you want to talk about them.
You know, if you saw what happened in the last game, Real Madrid is going to do amazing things. Last year, you know, Champions League champion. Really, nothing can stop those guys. Wow, look at what Ronaldo did this weekend. I mean, it's going to be very, very hard to stop these guys.
With one who I think is one of the best coaches as well, that they have also.
He's a pretty good guy. I agree. He's brought a different style from what we had under Mourinho. A little calmer style and a bit more focused.
Take a look at this last foul here, Keith.
Yeah, and that's
Hrstic again.
Yeah, Hrstic again getting involved and not quite getting by, and when he couldn't get by, tries to pull down to get the ball back. But that's what George Mason needs, is Hrstic to get back involved, of course. But
Dr. Cabrera, we thank you so much for hosting us here. We're delighted to be here with NSCA TV. Greg Andrulis has been fantastic. Your PR department, fantastic. Everybody's been great.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving us a chance to tell a little bit of George Mason's story. Thank you so much, guys.
Pleasure to be here. My wife was actually born in Madrid, so always good to see folks from Madrid. Dr. Angel Cabrera, fun guy, talented man, and doing an amazing job as the president here at George Mason, including that key initiative that he talked about, so important. Boy, strong academically, strong athletically, and then getting behind key missions. Good stuff, Keith.
No, absolutely. That was fantastic. Despite the Real Madrid part of it, that was absolutely tremendous. Have another look at this, and we're getting quite a number of fouls going in here, and he's sliding down and playing on the ground. I think Andy Chapin decided he would call that one, and that was Ahmed Ismail in the midfield. And really what George Mason needs to do right now, since they've been down 1-0, they need to try to get a hold of this ball. What was so successful for them is when they got the ball, they were attacking with good pace and getting in behind or creating difficult problems for the back three of Virginia. And that cross going nowhere for UVA, and see if George Mason can turn this around.
Coming the other way, George Mason.
And unfortunately, I don't think that direct ball like that is going to be the thing that turns it around. I really need to find players, a couple of those forwards, and lay it into those players and let them bring the midfielders into play with them. So you kind of play it forward, lay it off, and get those other players going, and that pulls that defense up a little bit, giving you some space.
1-0 Virginia. Feel bad as Dr. Angel Cabrera came on. Right as he comes on, Virginia scores a goal. Seems like that has happened quite a bit this year as part of the NSCA TV Game of the Week.
Yeah, I think it used to be when they came on, their team scored a goal, and they got to announce it.
That's right. This portion of the game brought to you by Glory Days Grill, another proud supporter of George Mason University, as it's been a lot of fun here at GMU. Right side to the Cavaliers, on top 1-0. Look at Todd Wharton. He comes forward. He's fouled. That could draw a card.
Yeah, it should draw a card. Yeah. Didn't unnecessary there. In fact, actually, it's lazy because really he's just not getting into position well. And, look as it's going, and he reads that too late. And just it's a silly foul to give up there. And you're going to get a yellow card. And, by the way, Dean, they add up. You get 5 yellow cards in this season. You're sitting out. And if that's going to add up, you're going to be sitting out probably in a pretty important conference game.
Free kick opportunity. Of course, you think about the Virginia Cavaliers, you think about Bruce Arena, but how can you forget some of the great players? John Harkes, Claudio Reyna, Tony Miola, Jeff Agus, Kurt Anolfo. I mean, just an amazing list.
That list goes so long. Benny Olsen, doing so well with DC United this year as well. And, on that list, Clint P.A., keep it going. There's actually not enough time left in the game to name all of them.
Oh, no, you can't. Yeah, so, obviously both these teams we saw at halftime, the great history from George Mason, but Virginia Cavaliers, winners of 6 national championships. And speaking of Virginia, I remind everybody that tonight's NSCAA TV presentation of men's soccer is also being telecast on HRSN, the Hampton Road Sports Network, in Norfolk on Cox 11, in Roanoke on Cox 77, and on Cox Nova Channel 74 right here in Fairfax County, Virginia. We thank you all for being with us here as we bring you George Mason and Virginia with the Cavaliers up 1-0. Played in. Virginia looking for another one. Bird taken down there by Sargent. Clean tackle by Sargent. I've been impressed with the young freshman. Slight in build, only 165 pounds, but kid can move as subs looking to check in there. You see Noah Kemble and Cullen Hunter trying to get in for Greg Andrulis. Finally, they're going to their bench.
Be the first subs of the game, and I think they need to because they have lost any sort of momentum that they had in the first half, and that offsides right there. They've lost a feel that they're going to be dangerous, so they do need to do something here. And we'll see these 2 subs coming in soon and see if that can help George Mason get going. But I like it though, Dean. The first subs of the game, I believe, coming in right now, and I think that's great to have it. It's why it gives it a better flow, and we see some games where there's a lot more than that, and all the coaches that all the reasons to do it, they're all valid reasons, but when you have it like this, the flow goes well.
Look at Suggs, just going toe to toe there with Timmy Mulgrew.
Yeah, he did, because the ball got on the on the wrong side of Suggs, and Mulgrew trying to sneak in behind it, but he held him off well.
Speaking of holding off, I like how the crowd here basically collectively held off the rain, and now I feel like it might just be a little bit of mist out there, but not as bad, and everybody kind of stayed put, and they're still hoping for something to cheer about, at least the home faithful here for George Mason.
Yeah, they are, and here we go, and then Andy Chapin just giving a verbal warning there to Eric Bird, and their team's going at it right now. This could get a little chippy, not in a bad way, but just in the team's fighting back. I mean, George Mason has to start, taking a few chances as things go on, as the clock winds down a little bit, and as they do that, things open up as well. But this field also lends itself to a little more contact going on.
Won't be easy, as Virginia has conceded just 7 goals in 10 matches coming into this one, recording 4 clean sheets. They shifted to the 3-5-2 formation with the 3 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 2 forwards. And that athletic back line of Sheldon Sullivan, Wesley Suggs, and Kyler Sullivan has been better than outstanding.
Well, they have. They've played well together. The subs are coming in right now, and Hurstek is going off. For one, I'll tell you what an impressive first half he had, and he certainly spent so much energy in that first half, and while he's coming off right now, you guarantee we'll see him coming back. And we see Hoffman also off, the left-sided player for George Mason, the German player. So it was 2 from Germany are off, and 2 from the U.S. are on, Dean. And we'll see Hoffman and Hurstek back on before this game is out.
Mason, George Mason to be exact, trying to go over the top. Noah Kemble off the bench for Gregan Drulis, tried to run it down, can't do it, as we are approaching halfway through the second half. NSCA College Showcase Series is another great way for your young player to receive some attention. Go to nsca.com/events to learn more. George Mason out of the back.
I think, Dean, they play that up there. The initial ball up in the air is not really going to be successful. It's going to be a small percentage, but it is winning that second ball, which is really the one that's going to dictate possession. And that's exactly what they've done here.
Colton Amidan into the game. Look at that ball. In. Still alive. Bouncing around. Cleared out of there by Suggs and Sullivan. Now Virginia feeling the pressure from George Mason. And looked like George Mason thought it went off Virginia.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it was the 2 subs here on this, and that's number 16, Amidan playing that ball, and 14, Noah Campbell almost getting on the end of that, and look how quickly they made a difference in this game. And we were saying that, it's probably a good idea to get those subs in, as we saw them lining up, try to give a little bit of a spark to Mason, and that's exactly what happened. Clever pass in there. Colton Amidan, 3 goals on the year, actually. He's from the Philly area. Played for Delco and for the Philadelphia Union as well.
Foul on Todd Wharton. It'll be a free kick opportunity for Virginia.
And have another look at this as Todd Wharton comes in and knocks down Timmy Mulgrew from George Mason, but there's a foul there on Sargent going out there for try to get the tackle, and fouls Darius Madison.
Talked about some of the injuries George Gelnovich has had to overcome. As we mentioned, the forwards Darius Madison, and Nico Corrival finally back in there, but you got to remember as well, Marcus Slandy DeFore, which was a key freshman last year on the team, or a sophomore rather, is out for the season with an ACL injury suffered in the summer. So that's a big loss for George Gelnovich's team. They returned 17 letter winners. Virginia's got 1, looking for 2.
Yeah, well, Mark is a very creative player as well for Virginia. Type of player that can break down a team if if things aren't going well. As a team moving around, he can make it happen by himself, and you always miss those sort of players, and certainly that depth that you need too.
George Mason and Virginia, the A-10 Patriots, the ACC's Cavaliers here at George Mason Stadium in Fairfax, Virginia. Dean Linke along with Keith the Batsnake as Madison looking for a goal to add to Wharton's goal that came in the 57th minute. And that's the only goal of the game. It's 1-0 Virginia here in Fairfax, Virginia. The Patriots. Well, you think they're there, and then that speed of that Virginia athletic back line able to track it back. Another opportunity here, though. Here's McGrew. McGrew is in, pushing off of Sullivan, and just can't get around him.
Couldn't quite get it. They're getting so close, and also that final pass is so close. But, they also may need to think about taking some shots where they don't have a perfect look at the goal, too. Have another look here. Timmy Mulgrew trying to get through, and maybe a little bit before that, he might have had a chance to pull a shot. I call it a blind shot. Sometimes you don't take it because you can't see the goal well, because the goalie can't see the ball well there neither. It's worth trying to put it, because the one thing that isn't going to move out of all that's the goal itself. And a lot of times we try for the perfect one.
Back across. A little bit too long. Great opportunity there for George Mason to almost sneak one in, as trying to get at the end of it there was Kemble.
Yeah, but look at this. It almost went in by itself as well. Henning Dirks with this ball, and it goes in there, and it froze the goalkeeper. Callie Brown was frozen there thinking someone was going to hit it, and we've seen balls like that just go right into the goal.
Callie Brown started the final 8 games of 2013, including all 4 NCAA tournament matches. And we mentioned he actually was on the team, quit, and then decided to come back, and there he is playing in the College Cup in Philadelphia.
I'm not sure that's a good thing to be saying too many times. How many people are going to quit for a little while thinking they can come back in? But
out of bounds. We'll stay with the Cavaliers. As look at the crowd, they're staying with us here too. It's been rainy, a little bit windy. Not super cold though here for an early October matchup.
Actually, it was kind of perfect. Perfect outside before the rain came, and the rain stopped again. Getting really nice to play. Awesome for the players out there right now. You can definitely go quite a bit longer in this. See in there for Virginia, number 22, Kyle McCord, the senior from Pennsylvania.
Here's Mulgrew. Mulgrew is in, then he's out. Dancing around, down near the end line, and it's handled.
It does look as though it was Nico Corvo that went out for Kyle McCord when he came in, Dean. Making that the first sub for UVA as well.
Madison trying to stay with it, keeps it down low. And Kraus with a pretty good save. 16 minutes and change. The Virginia Cavaliers looking to improve their record. They're 6-3-1. George Mason 7-1-2. Another foul. Another card coming out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it didn't take long for Kyle McCord to get into the scorebook there. They say he's a bit unorthodox and stuff. I don't think they meant that part of it, with it. But he got a card within a few minutes of coming into the game.
On the turn, Amadan. Look at Mason stay with it. They have looked so dynamic, but that back line here as part of this 3-5-2 is.
Yeah, so again, we see this coming in, and again, he's putting that ball. I love that no-look pass there, and that's Henning Dirks again, trying to get the ball on target. And one of the things with the looks that they've had on goal, Dean, is they just haven't put too many right on target. And again, we see there's Kyle McCord there who received the yellow card just a little bit ago. That from that yellow card and the restart, ends up with that shot. And you got to actually be pretty happy with the way that Colton Amadon has come in and given a spark so far to George Mason.
Cavaliers, 15 minutes left. The 1-0 lead. Madison, so good to see him back out there. He scored 3 goals in his last 2 games since coming back from that injury. Keith, it's not like George Mason isn't creating opportunities. The problem is when they look up, that back 3 of Virginia has really been solid. They've been with him step by step.
Well, they have, and there we got a foul there as well. And Darius Madison's going to get a card. I'm not sure about that one. Oh, wow, he said something, though. And we have another look at what the foul was. You know, and the foul, he just clipped the guy. But I'll tell you what, he clearly said something that was wrong. And, you know, gets a yellow card, 2 in a row there. And unfortunately, that you just can't accept that. And whether it was a good call or not to get the yellow card, and I have my doubts on that, you know, you got to deal with that. And,
wow, this could change the game.
You know, look at that. I mean, that's not a yellow card. He's reaching for the ball. That's just a foul. And I think Andy Chapin got that one wrong. And, you know, it's like going, then, I don't know what he said. I can lip read. I actually think I know what he said there. But we won't say that on the air. But there he goes, and now he's out. And this opens up the door. We're just talking about the fact Mason getting chances. And here we go with Mason. Oh, and he slips on the turn.
Here's Bird. So clearly Madison got the yellow and then, as you said something to add on to it, and then they pulled the red.
Yeah, they did. But now, you know, just as we were saying that George Mason's creating chances, I was about to say, well, now you have to, you know, decide whether or not you're going to, you know, push another player forward or anything. But they're creating chances. Sometimes you don't then. But now, of course, they have the opportunity. There really is no need to play with 4 in the back with only 1 striker going against you right now, and with you know, just over 12 and a half minutes left. It really is time, you know, time to get those other players back into the game too. And I'd expect to see Zach Hurstek coming back in very quickly, and you know, all these guys for them that have the chances to score goals.
I want to thank Dr. Angel Cabrera for spending time with us. Of course, we didn't even get to talk a little golf with him. The namesake of the yes. Masters winner, Angel Cabrera, though that Cabrera is from Argentina, of course.
Foul in Virginia.
One nothing, Virginia. On the road here in Fairfax, Virginia, on the campus of George Mason University. Greg Andrulis and the Patriots trying to sneak one by. Callie Brown, the redshirt senior from Leesburg, Virginia. I loved how Greg Andrulis talking in that halftime feature, which I don't know if I've mentioned yet, Keith, but I thought it was fantastic. Talking about how this is a destination for just a pocket of players right here. I mean, you've got enough great players in this area, a true melting pot, great athletes, that he can field a fantastic team just right from here.
Well, you can, and you know, while several of those players that were mentioned in that piece, you know, were some foreign players, you know, Sam Sumo and Colin Kerr and Freddie Thompson, Mike Reynolds. Those last ones are Canadians. The majority of those names that we heard were all local players. And they could use a couple of those names on the field right now to try to get the goal back. Boy, Sam Sumo could just score no matter what in anything. And they said that name, I got a little nervous because he scored a lot of goals against Georgetown. So obviously UVA, you know, sitting with everyone in the defensive half, and very happy actually UVA for if Mason's just going to knock it around the back, and Mason has to try to penetrate and force the issue right now.
Colcom with the push and the foul, and certainly what happens there when you make a foul here in your offensive third, it'll allow Virginia to take their time.
No, exactly. And you see Colcom coming down. The run's coming across in front of him, which is actually not helping. It's bringing defenders, but there's nobody coming into the middle of the 18 for George Mason, because that's where the space was once that run did come across, and they need to get some people in there, not just waiting for that ball to be dumped in. As they play that ball with, still 4 guys for a couple passes, 4 or 5 guys behind midfield, they've got to get it forward quickly.
Campbell back to Kokum. He'll square it middle of the field. Quick touch there from Dirks. It was Dirks who had that free kick that almost went in. Tough angle.
Yeah, it really did. Just went right by all the defenders and attackers there and froze the keeper. But be that as it may, George Mason right now having to try to get things going, and they're trying to get a sub back in. I think they're trying to get Hertzsteck back into the game, and they need that. He was so dangerous.
Kokum over, and what a save! What a save to keep this one at 1-0.
Well, and have a look at this again. Here's Kokum with the ball and putting this in, and I'll tell you what, he's got caught there. It looks like it was going to be a cross, and now it's just stopping in. And well, look at that, he dunked the ball, gets it up and making sure. Actually, my ball might have been going over anyway from hitting the top, but he's absolutely making sure there. And Kokum almost getting it in by accident.
Yeah, I think it might have been out back across as George Mason trying to equalize. You're right, he did just grab it and dunk it just to make sure. So clearly it wasn't a whole lot of juice on it. Corner kick here now, though. That was the replay of the last one.
Yeah, we see the replay. But, here's the thing. That ball came to a good spot there. There's not enough Mason players in the areas that goals are going to get scored. I mean, that ball really did drop into a good spot. And rain coming down again here with 8 minutes, 40 seconds left for George Mason to try to get the goal back. And they were able to get now Hertzsteck back into the game.
Cavaliers lead at 1-0.
Now, the one thing about with George Mason right now is that they're still effectively playing 4 in the back. I mean, both the wide backs are obviously just going and going. But I think they need to push somebody else a bit higher up so that they can try to keep that ball in the final third once they get there.
Nate Odasote replacing number 22, Kyle.
So now we've got Odasote coming in for McCord. Odasote, number 25, the freshman from New Jersey.
Yeah, and actually, this is kind of a good sub here for UVA because this guy's quite athletic, and as George Mason is pressing right now and having to take chances, here's a guy up top, fresh legs and everything that can get behind and get in on a good counterattack as that space opens up. And see George Gelnovich there trying to get his team going, playing down a man right now as Darius Madison was red carded.
So Virginia down a man, goes out of bounds. It'll come back. And there's John O'Hara off the bench along with Trevor Singer. You see Greg Andrulis still sitting down. Great personality. Assisting George Gelnovich, Matt Chulis, who graduated from Virginia in 05. Terry Bosk from Tulsa, and Oliver Gage now in his second season. That's the Virginia Brain Trust. They lead it 1-0. Thank everybody for watching here on NSCAA TV. Dirks trying to keep it alive. And there's that back line again. The Sullivan brothers along with Suggs have been outstanding. Push from behind.
Well, again, it's just unnecessary. And you stop the clock there, which is fine. We have another look at this, and you kick the ball out of bounds, though, on purpose. First of all, it's a bad foul. Now he kicks the ball out of bounds, and that deserves the yellow. Darius Madison's foul did not deserve a yellow, actually, and ends up with the red card because of what he said.
Virginia down a man. They'll do anything now to kill some seconds off the clock. Cavaliers. Odasote gives the ball up, and now it'll be a corner kick for Virginia, and that'll certainly help Virginia's case here. Down a man with just a little over 5 minutes remaining in the game.
Yeah, and they're certainly not committing too many people, up there for the corner kick as well. In fact, at this moment, there's nobody inside the 18-yard box for Virginia.
Odasote trying to keep it, and they'll call the foul on Odasote and give it back to George Mason. I like that call. Now Odasote will step in. He may get a card now. Yeah, he will. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he deserved that before. And the fact, obviously the talking to him didn't do any good there, and he's allowed to do it. See, one of the things that's the problem with this is that even though he got it, and he's calling it, it's breaking the rhythm of the game. It allows UVA to get back and get sorted defensively, and that's why you had to take care of that the first time.
Virginia, 6-time national champion, 15-time ACC champion, 5 Herman Trophy recipients, and 49 All-America players. Strong tradition at Virginia. You think about the powerhouses, you think Indiana, Virginia, Maryland, St. Louis back in the day, pretty good, San Francisco as well. Here comes George Mason dancing around. Standing up there is Sheldon Sullivan, the redshirt freshman. His brother Kyler Sullivan. Both those two have played outstanding in the back.
Yeah, they have. As you've said it a few times, Dean, about the back three just doing a tremendous job standing up the Mason attack. And Mason had, certainly had a momentum going in a lot of that first half, and they've had little bits and pieces here now, but they just haven't been able to get through for anything that's really been a clean look at goal. And 4 minutes left to try to do that and equalize.
George Mason. Can they equalize? They have a man advantage, but the clock is their enemy now. 4 minutes remaining. Let's see what happens here in the final 4. Greg Andrulis will bring everything. You can make subs here. Let's see. Kimball will come in. They don't stop the clock because
this team that's losing made the sub. If UVA had made the sub, the clock would have stopped in the last 5 minutes.
Throw in. Big throw in here for Kokum. It's a weapon. Back across. Little dangerous opportunity there, though, for George Mason. Lucky not to get a whistle. Back in. Sent back in. Cleared out of there by Suggs.
Well, they flagged offsides, but I don't think you call that. I mean, the ball was headed out by Suggs, and, you just keep playing. The guy who was offside had nothing to do with that play.
Now 3 minutes and change. 1-0 Virginia. Thank everybody for watching on NSCAA TV and on the Hampton Roads Sports Network in Norfolk on Cox 11, Roanoke, Cox 77, and on Cox Nova, Channel 74 right here in Fairfax County, and of course on your internet dial, NSCAA TV. You feel like the Patriots might have one in them. A little bit of push there by Bird. Physical play here. George Galnovich telling us he was going to approach this game like it's an ACC game, and I think they've done just that. And give George Mason credit because they have played like a top 25 team.
Yeah, they haven't. This has obviously been quite an even game, and it was almost an unfortunate, goal that George Mason let up because it was a shot that deflected right to Eric Bird, standing just pretty much right in front of the goal, and very close to being offsides, on it as well. But that time he wasn't. But the big problem is that George Mason's just not been able to have a really good look at goal. The shots that have come have been from second range, and the crosses that have looked dangerous haven't had anyone on the end of them. Under 2 minutes right now, and certainly Mason trying to do everything to get that ball and get it into the attacking half of the field. And that's not going to do it that way, though. That's a bad giveaway without pressure.
A little bit of pushing and shoving there with Sargent and Odesate, and Odesate has already got the yellow. He's got to be careful. Odesate will head to the corner again.
Something about forwards for UVA getting cards. Darius Madison gets cards. Look at that crowd, by the way. I mean, this has just been tremendous night. There's lining up around the field as well. Most of those stands have been full the whole night. Some people just taking off a little bit right now and trying to beat the crowd out. That's always a good thing to say when you have to get out early to beat the crowd. But
where's the urgency here for George Mason? They need to get going.
That's exactly right. And even before I said it, they were knocking the ball around the back. You can rush the game without rushing the play. And
boy, they've got some space right now too. They'll have an opportunity. Kokum has got to get that ball up and over that last line. And keep in mind the surface is very wet. Odesate doing the job he was meant to do. Look at him. He will get down to the corner flag. Can George Mason get it back?
Yeah, well, another foul there. But the problem, again, he's stopping the clock there. The problem there, too, is that George Mason was letting them just go one-on-one. They needed to double team that to try to get that ball back a lot earlier. And now we'll see this ball, and here it is in the corner again with Odesate trying to keep it there. But Cullen Hunter getting that ball and being fouled. This will be it. This will be the ball down here. 20 seconds to try to get it in and equalize and put this to overtime if they can, but not with a ball like that.
Yeah, he even mishit it. They'll go out of bounds. That's not a bad play either. 9 seconds. Kokum's got that big throw in. This is it. Final 5 seconds. Top of the 18. Headed out of there, and that will do it. The Virginia Cavaliers move to 7-3-1 with a 1-0 win over George Mason.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that was an excellent college game, and it went back and forth. Both teams with chances, a dead even first half, and I think UVA did take the upper hand in the second half and got rewarded with that goal. And like I said, the intensity couldn't get picked up enough for George Mason at the end, and 2 losses in a row for them against 2 good teams. They're going to have to regroup and try to run the gamut through the Atlantic 10 there. And of course, UVA on a good run right now, and they're feeling good. A lot of guns for them, and as they get healthy, certainly a team that could make another deep run in the tournament.
We're going to take a break and come back. Virginia's beat George Mason 1-0.
The NCAA convention to me is probably the best place to get any sort of education of a wide variety that you can go in the world.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm ready to go on.
Super excited.
Pretty excited.
Oh, super excited, yes.
Now I'm excited to just be a part of it and experience it all, take it all in.
You call yourself a muskrat?
There are days, and there are glory days.
Welcome back here to George Mason Stadium, where the Virginia Cavaliers have walked into Fairfax, and they walk out with a 1-0 win over George Mason. And I'll tell you what, Kyler Sullivan, that back three. Kyler, it's not every day that we give love to the defenders, but phenomenal job. You and your brother and Mr. Suggs. Talk about the defense for the Cavaliers.
Well, we actually just switched into a 3-back this year. It took a little time to transition from 4-back, but I think we're starting to get it. We're playing well. It's taking a little time to get ready or get used to this formation, but I think we've got it down. We got a little more things to work on, but I think we played really well tonight.
Well, you did play well, Kyler. Tell me what it's like playing, bookends with your brother.
It's amazing. I mean, I've been doing it for a little while. We played together in high school. We played different positions together, but at the same time, we can kind of read each other. We can yell at each other, when we need each other to push each other and get each other back in the game and get us focused. But at the same time, it's all out of love. So I mean, it's an amazing experience, and not a lot of people get to do it, so I'm very lucky.
Finally, Kyler, you made it to the College Cup last year. Do you have a team that can get back there?
I think we do. We're a little younger, I think, than last year, but at the same time, we have a lot of experience. All the guys have experience, and, I mean, we have the team. We have the technical ability from all the players, and, I mean, we have the savviness. So I think it's just going to take, you know, a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill, but I think we have the talent to do it.
Super impressed. Good luck the rest of the way, young man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Kyler Sullivan, your man of the match here. And I'll tell you what, great opportunities, but only one goal, Keith.
Yeah, it was only one goal, and this is in the first half, though. These were the shots. This was for George Mason. Ahmed Ismail trying to get that ball in, putting it over top. And really, George Mason had most of the highlights, and this guy really was all over the place. Zach Hurstek in the first half and unable to put that in. And Timmy Mulgrew right now trying to get by. Gets by 3 or 4 defenders getting the shot. Couldn't quite get it off and get it past Callie Brown from UVA. And then it's UVA coming down the other end, sliding it to Darius Madison, but boy, that was Stefan Kraus coming out there, smothering that ball, and now a deep shot, no problem for Kraus on that one, and now it's a free kick again. This is all in the first half, a lot of excitement. Timmy Mulgrew trying to get it in there, Mulgrew, and again, drop it in front of the keeper, which is the right thing to do, just have to hit it a lot harder, and now it's a free kick that comes in, and look at this as it bounces right in front of the keeper. Darius Madison puts it in, but he was offsides, just barely offsides, and stays 0-0 at the half, and then early in the second half, it's UVA coming down there, and here's a shot. Look at this save by Stefan Kraus, showing why he's one of the top keepers in the country. And then the corner kick comes in. It gets put back out and knocked in. Todd Warden doing it, but it is Eric Bird just sliding that ball in for the easy goal. And 1-0, and UVA just keeps at it. And here's a foul there again, and this is a UVA. Henning Dirks getting fouled, and what a nice pass. This was a substitute coming in. Colton Amadon putting it and not quite being able to get on the end of it. And once again, they're pushing, trying to get this back. And another no-look pass by Amadon, and the shot going over top by Dirks.
Action-packed game with just only limited goals, but one that counted for Virginia.
And then here's where the red card came. Darius Madison called for foul. You see, he's not even expecting a yellow card right there, but he says something back. You know, and whatever he said back, Andy Chapin did not like, Dean.
Remind everybody that you can now register for the 2015 NSCAA convention. It's January 14th through the 18th, so register now. Go to nscaa.com/convention. I want to thank everybody watching NSCAA TV, as well as the Hampton Road Sports Network in Norfolk on Cox 11, Roanoke on Cox 77, and on Cox Nova Channel 74 right here in Fairfax County. For our production crew, Apparent Gravity Media, George Krieger and Brian Krieger. My broadcast partner's name is Keith Tabatsnik, the former Georgetown coach. I'm Dean Linke, where your final score is once again here from Fairfax, Virginia. The Virginia Cavaliers 1, George Mason 0, and you saw it all right here on NSCAA TV.